Alrighty then, hi guys and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time joining me, thanks for clicking on that yo. Okay guys, can I just start off by saying that I have been pre-recording a lot of my videos lately. So if you saw me wearing the same clothes quite a number of times, don't worry, I recorded on the same day because I'm trying to upload more videos because I mean YouTube is like no joke, it's tough out there. Okay, and I also want to apologize for the focus on my lens the past few days. The focus was so soft, but I figured, you know, I've been doing a lot of recording. I want to keep my schedule. I didn't want to ruin what I've been working so hard to do. So I thought, let me just watch it out there. And I haven't been getting that many views, so I thought, okay, let me just put it out there anyway so that I'm being consistent. And yeah, so I just wanted to apologize if there was any for the videos. And I was like yesterday I changed one of my thumbnails because I didn't have Photoshop, you guys, and I know my thumbnails have been like, well, to me they've been like so lame the past 3 days for the past 3 videos that I uploaded, or the past 4 rather, because like I tried using online editing sites and for me they just don't do it. I love to have more control over what I'm working with, so for me Photoshop is the only option for me. I love using Photoshop. I mean, I don't know, I'm used to using Photoshop. There's nothing else that I can use. I've tried other stuff. So if my thumbnails have been looking ugly, I apologize, like seriously, because I was so like, it was killing me that yesterday I went and I changed one of my thumbnails because I was like, no, I can't go on like this. But anyway, let me stop blabbing. Today we are going to be doing a video, as you can see from the title. It's how to figure out the perfect foundation shade for your complexion. Now for me, it's a struggle, like I said, because I always find that I have to mix my concealers because I'm like a tan kind of complexion. I'm not too light, I'm not very dark, so I'm always those in-between shades that they never have, and I just have to mix them, like, okay. And also guys, I just came back from church, and when I'm going to church at times, like, I don't do my makeup, I just put on eyebrows. And when I'm not doing makeup and I do my eyebrows, girl, I don't even like really bother how perfect they look, as long as they fold in, because I don't have any, then I'm okay, because it's a no makeup day. Like, I don't have to be precise about my makeup. All right, but anyway, let's get straight into the tutorial. Boom. First things first, when you're figuring out what foundation you want to have or to wear on your skin, 2 things you got to figure out is you got to figure out whether you have oily or dry skin, or whether you are a combination of skin. Also, you also have to consider the different the seasonal changes, because every season is different. Your skin is different in every season. Like now we're heading it's autumn, but we're now transitioning into winter, and at that time is when my skin's the most driest. Like this year it's been so bad. My skin, especially my lip area, because I don't have very dry skin, but my lips tend to get dry. I tend to be, I'm a combination skin, but I tend to be a little bit more dry during the winter season. So those are the first things you want to consider. So you want to consider whether you have whether you want a matte or an oil-based foundation, or a dewy-looking foundation. Basically, if you have oily skin, then you would preferably want to use a matte foundation. If you have dry skin, you would want to use an oil-based foundation. And those are the 2 things you want to consider. And also take into mind is when you're going out into the store or looking for what foundations you want to buy, the second thing you have to do is you have to go barefaced. Like, don't put foundation over your face, because you could have the wrong shade on. You're going to want to test the foundation to see which foundations are going to work for you. So make sure you don't have any foundation and you have a clean face before you go out into the stores and test what foundation you want to buy. Okay, so figuring out the perfect shade can be very tricky for a lot of people. I know, like for dark skin girls, there's always going to be that trouble. They're going to have my shade. I'm not going to have your shade for. But I also find that for light skin or even in between, testing foundation is never an easy thing. So what I normally do when I'm testing my foundation is obviously you have to check it on your jawline. But what I like to do is I like to take it from my jawline going down into my neck, because obviously you don't want your face to have a different color to your skin. Now sadly, if you have a dark neck, then you want your face to match your neck and your chest area. So you want to choose a foundation that's going to complement your neck and your chest. You don't have a white face where your chest is really dark. It doesn't make sense. Or sometimes with me, I find my chest area and my neck is a bit lighter than my actual face, because obviously I'm burned by the sun. So choosing a foundation is a bit tricky. That's why for me, I always got to test it from my face into my neck. So also what you want to consider is when buying foundation, this is a really very important part, is some foundations tend to oxidize. So in those products, what you will need to do is you will actually need to get maybe a shade lighter or a shade in between, or you can mix foundations. And some foundations, especially with matte foundations, when they dry down, like when the product is wet, it looks lighter than when the product is dried down. It hasn't oxidized, it's just drying. And it tends to become a little bit darker when it dries down. And then at some point, it's even worse that if it oxidizes, if it becomes darker when it's dry, and when it's dry down, it begins to oxidize, then it becomes a problem. I had this problem when I bought the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour foundation. When it dries down, it becomes slightly darker, and from there it also oxidized a little bit. So I was looking like another complexion by the time I reached the end of the day. Now unfortunately, I didn't give a full day's review on the product. I only based it on the hours that I was wearing it for, and I told you about the product. So what we're going to do is I'm going to test out several of foundations, and we're going to see which color is perfect for my skin complexion. So stay tuned. Let me take off my earrings. Alright, we're not going to go through what foundations there are, because we really just want to see which one is going to be perfect. You can be the judge if you like. Don't look at my ratchet eyebrows. I know they are ratchet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the foundation, and 30 minutes later I'm going to return. I'm going to return. Also, when you figure it out what shade of foundation you want, you also have to consider whether you want high coverage, whether you want a medium coverage. There's a lot to consider, you guys. Okay. So now I'm going in with a shade that I thought was my perfect shade, because when I apply it, it's like so perfect. Like I've never found a shade that was so perfect for me. But sadly, like I said, it did dry down. Oh wait, I'm sorry if these swatches are not going to be, I'm just going to blend them out, because like, okay. So now, I'm going to do another shade. Woo! This one let me put here. Do I have any space left? Let me put it further up because it's right at the end there. Blend it out. Like I hate this side of my face because of this area. Alright, so let me just come a bit closer. So as you can see, this is what the foundations look like right now. So what I'm actually going to do is, guys, can you stop screaming? So what I'm going to do is, Madison, can you stop? Yeah. What is wrong with you?
Out.
honestly. So I'm going to come back 30 minutes later once the product has dried down, and then I want to show you guys how the products dry, if they're oxidized. But I suggest, like, if you're in the mall, just like walk around the mall, continue with your whatever chores or errands you need to run, and buy the foundation on your way out. So by that time you would see how much oxidation happens in the product, and if you want to get it, if you want to get a light or darker shade. So I'll be back. But obviously for this video I don't want it to be too long, so I'm going to be 30 minutes. I'm going to continue cleaning and I'm back. Okay, so as you guys can see, all of the foundations have dried down much darker than they are. So this is the reason why I say you let the product sit on your face. I know this is the Maybelline Superstay full coverage foundation, and it is dried down darker than what it actually is in the bottle, or what it looks like when you first put it on your face. And I know for sure that it's going to oxidize during the day and get much darker than this, because I have been wearing this foundation and I thought it was the perfect shade, but throughout the day it gets really dark, and when it dries down it gets dark. This one is such a drastic difference. It has gone orange, and this one, which I thought was too light for me, is actually not as light anymore. And as you can see, this one has not dried down as much, but this one, considering it's a cream, it has dried down slightly. But what's shocking is that it's almost now the same shade as this one, whereas this one is actually lighter than this one, but now they're very close. But as you guys can see, these are certainly not my shades. In fact, none of these are my shade, and these are all the foundations that I use on a regular basis, but I have to mix them to get my perfect shade. But what I'm going to do now is I am going to show you guys what the foundations look on with. So I'm going to reapply them above the foundation, and I'm going to show you what they actually look like when we first put them on. I'm going back in with the same foundations. I am going to put on so do you see the difference that the shades are? Like, look how light this shade is. I'm busy. Don't make noise, okay? Shh. Okay. So as you can see, whoa. Look at what this child made me do. So as you can see, sorry, I missed my face a bit. So as you can see, the difference between the two shades now, how much lighter they are. So definitely make sure that you guys check it out. So look at the difference. So when you first apply the product, you're going to think, oh wow, the shade is just so perfect for me. But now looking at the two, what turned out to be the perfect shade for me is now a total different darker shade. Let's go back into putting the next shade, which initially is not my actual shade, but I used it, I bought it because when I tested it didn't look too dark, and I can always work with shades that are a little bit dark because we're always going to highlight, and by the end of the day, so the highlighting is going to kind of correct that. But now look at that. Do you see how it's actually almost my shade? It's just slightly darker. And of course the undertone is not too bad, but I bought it to mix into my foundation because I thought it would be the perfect to mix if it's too dark or too light. But look at the difference between the two. Sorry, that is actually this foundation I just missed. But look at the difference between the two foundations. Look how much lighter it looks compared to when it's dried down. Notice that it has now dried down and it hasn't really... Look at the difference. Yeah. So okay, this is now the next shade. This is actually a soft beige, which is extremely light. It's a very light shade. It's way too light for me, but now that it is dried down, it is actually not that light. And Look at that. Like, oh my gosh, do you see? Oh my gosh, do you see the difference in those two? Like, look at that. Look at that comparison. Are you kidding me? Look how much that is dried. Look how much it's actually oxidized now. Because that is like way too dark compared to what it initially is. Look at the difference. Like here, this actually looks like it could be my shade, but a bit lighter. But now when you first apply it in the store, I would think, hell no. But if I'm gonna test this product in the store, I would probably think, hell no, I'm not buying the shade. The shade is like for white people. Like if you fair enough for me, I would think like, honey, you are crazy. You are crazy. So so now let's do the other side of my face and let's see how that works out. Don't worry. Okay. Oh my bad. Look at the difference, you guys. Oh my gosh. Look at how much these shades have dried down. Like, oh my gosh. And other things that you also want to consider when buying your foundation, you have to figure out whether you are a a warm or a cooler undertone. You just have to kind of figure that out. Until next time, you guys, I'll see you again very soon. And that's a wrap.